everybody, welcome back to part 5 in installing Bootstrap for Ruby on Rails on our pet adoption app that we're building. Now in this part, I'm going to show you how to install Bootstrap, and in order for Bootstrap to work in Ruby on Rails application, especially for Rails 6 and forward, is we have to make sure to install it with the easiest way, which is with Yarn. So we're going to install Bootstrap, Jquery, and popper.js. Now I want you to go to getbootstrap.com. It's an HTML framework. It's extremely awesome. You can do so many things with Bootstrap, and obviously we're not going to talk about Bootstrap today, but I'm going to make another video and show you guys how to build websites with Bootstrap. But we're building a web application, so we're going to build something awesome using this awesome HTML framework. And don't let anyone ever tell you that this is not good enough, because Bootstrap is amazing. So what I want you to do is notice here the 4.5 version. Click on documentation, click on download, and you're going to notice here it says Bootstrap 4.5.0. That's the latest version, and it's stable. And of course, you can click on Yarn, and it shows you a bunch of information that you can easily use. So that's where I'm getting all this information from. So what I want you to do now is I want you to just basically go to your Finder and go to the Pet Adoption app, which is inside the projects folder that we created. So I made a little shortcut here, in my projects folder, because all the apps we're going to build, we're going to put them in the projects folder. So we're going to grab this Pet Adoption folder, and we're going to drag it over to Visual Studio. Of course, you have to launch Visual Studio as well. And what I have here, what do I got? I'm just going to close all those. I think I was working on this earlier, making sure that, yeah, so that's that, right? So what we're going to do now is, right, so as you notice here, we have this Pet Adoption, because naturally earlier we were using Terminal, and we're not going to be using Terminal anymore because Terminal is here inside Visual Studio. So in case you don't know how to open it, you just click on Terminal and click on New Terminal, and there you go. And you don't have to change directory into Pet Adoption. You just do a pwd, and you can see here we're inside my username, which is Thea Tutorials, and then projects, and then Pet Adoption. And that's where we are. So right now I'm going to do clear, and I'm going to start installing Bootstrap, Jquery, and popper.js. Okay, so I'm going to say yarn. Well, that's the first command that we saw earlier. Yarn is yarn add bootstrap. So we are going to do a yarn add bootstrap with a version. Okay, so yarn just like that, add yarn add bootstrap. And make sure we spell that correctly, bootstrap at 4.5, right? So 4.5.0, or obviously you can put 4.5 and put a space and put Jquery, all right? And that's going to give us the latest version of Jquery, and we want to put a space and put in popper.js, okay? And that's also going to give us the latest version. Now, before you click enter, I want you to click on package.json and just have a quick look at this file. You can see here, just have a quick look at it, and don't forget to have a look, and you'll see the difference after we run this command. Yarn is going to install all Bootstrap, Jquery, and popper.js, and you'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to click enter, and of course we installed Yarn in the previous section. And we know that our latest Yarn version as well. And while this is running, yeah, it was pretty quick. So click back on package.json, and you will notice here that we should have 3 differences. So that's the Jquery, the popper.js turbolinks, and Bootstrap, right? All right. So what we want to do now is we want to direct, tell Rails to use webpacker as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use webpacker. And guys, I just want you to know that in case you're working with earlier versions of Rails, don't be intimidated by this. Rails 6, this is the best way to add Bootstrap and Jquery and popper.js. Okay, it's better than using gems. And it's really awesome. Okay, so let's just continue on like this. But of course, there's a ton of things that we should cover, the differences between Rails 5 and Rails 6, and how this is gonna be better way. with Yarn, but I'm not going to go through that right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and point Rails, let Rails know to I don't know, to go to webpacker for these dependencies, okay? And that's what we're gonna do. So we need to go into our JavaScript file and basically write, let Rails know to use webpacker. So we wanna go to, we wanna open the config and we wanna go over to webpack and we wanna go to development.js file. Oh no, actually environment.js. All right. So over here, let's see. We can just come over here, and so we already have this environment require Rails webpacker. Next thing we want to do is we want to require webpack. So require webpack. Right, and we want to require Jquery, of course, and popper.js. So into environment, plugins, and you want to append that. I'm going to do a pass the plugins. What happened here? I missed the. Sorry about that. All right, so we want to provide plugins, and what you want to do now is to open close bracket and open close curly brace, and just want to hit enter. And now we want to assign the $sign. Assign the $sign to Jquery, and followed by a comma, and also we want to assign Jquery to Jquery. So capital J, Jquery, followed by a comma again, and for popper as well. Popper.js. That's that. That's all we need to do. That should be good. And modules.exports, that was already there. So that's just all we needed to add. All right. And we're also going to have to keep the, don't forget to do Command S to save. And we'll need to go to, I think, environments, development. No, what am I doing? Close the config and go to app, assets, and find style sheets. We want to go to application.css. And we can rename this to SCSS. But for now, we're going to be working with CSS. We can always do that later. All right, but for now, I haven't really planned on the CSS versus SCSS. You wanna, if it was an SCSS file, you wanna do an add import. And for now, we're just gonna do require bootstrap. See. I'm gonna require bootstrap. I always just get it wrong. It's tricky. Bootstrap. All right, you want to do Command S to save. And next thing you want to do, I think it's a good idea to check. Probably a good idea to check the JavaScript. That's the JavaScript file. So we want to make sure that we have that as well. So let's close this channels. No, go to the config. Leave this in the config. Wow, I'm also confused with this. No, JavaScript. Go to packs, application.js, and you'll notice here that there, obviously, because it's not there, but we want to add, we want to import actually. So I'm just going to hit enter, and we want to import Bootstrap itself, because otherwise the Bootstrap JavaScript is not going to work. So we want to do a import Bootstrap. That's all. Oh. Bootstrap. All right, and that should be it. I'm going to save that. Just do a command S to save. So application.js, application.css, and environment.js. Just going over this really quickly, and save that. And it's time for us to test Bootstrap. First of all, let's do a Rails S or Rails server in a terminal. Rails S is good enough. Hit the enter key, and we want to come over to localhost. Localhost 3000. And it seems like, oh yeah, of course, because we don't have the Postgres running, so we need to run Postgres. So that said, we open Postgres here, or you can just go to applications and open Postgres and just click start, and you can always check here in the top window to see if it's running. So it's got a green button, green check mark. So Postgres is running. Let's hit enter, and yeah, so it's working. Next thing we want to do is we want to test it. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to add a nav bar. So come here and click search nav bar. Okay, we're going to grab one of these now, and the nav bar is a good way to test because you can, so you can grab this one here or that. All right, so we can get, let's get one with a drop down. So this one has a drop down. All right, so let's grab this here. We're going to grab from nav to nav. This is just to test it, that Bootstrap is working. Copy that. So we grabbed all this, and I want you to come back to Visual Studio and open, let's see. What I want you to do is open the views, app, go to views, and go to application.html.erb. Now in application.html.erb, you're going to notice the yield. So as you can see here, and also the JavaScript pack tag. It's much different than Rails 5 here in this area. And in any case, anything that you see here in application.html.erb gets shown in every page. So sort of like a footer. If you want a footer in every page, then you're going to have it there. But you always want to put it above the yield. So whatever other pages controllers and views you've made is going to show after that. But if you want to show right now, HTML like a nav bar or a footer, you want to put it above the yield. And for now, we're going to just do this to test Bootstrap. This is not how we're going to do it, but this is just to test Bootstrap. So I'm going to do a Command V here to paste. And when you paste, initially everything is off. So what you want to do is you want to grab this. You'll get used to this, and you want to scroll over to the top. Whoops, to where here, and you want to hit the Tab key and hit it again, just to make sure that this is, as you can see, these lines. Command plus. Let me just zoom in. As you can see, these lines here, this nav opens here and it ends at the bottom. So I'm assuming that you do have some HTML. You've worked with HTML. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove this form, which is basically the search. I don't want the search there for now. And if I click Command S, and I come back here to localhost 3000 and I refresh. Oh, okay. So let me. Wow. Okay. Let me just I'm gonna just stop the server. Control C. I'm really tired, so I'm gonna do. We're gonna do a page Rails generate controller, and we're gonna do pages with the action home. Oops, with the action home. So once we do that, Rails is gonna generate the controller for us. So it's Rails G space controller pages home, and you're gonna notice here that there's an action pages home. Okay, so if you go to localhost 3000 /pages/home, you should see something, and that's what I'll show you what we're gonna see by going to views and clicking on pages. Now, as you can see, pages was created, and there's home. So if you come here, you're gonna see pages home. It was that easy. So what you want to do now is come back to Chrome, and you want to come to, well, first we'll start the server, and let's do Rails S to run it. And if we come here and we hit enter, it should be running. So let's do /pages/home. You should be able to see the drop down, the nav bar, and sure enough, the pages home find, can come here. Hey there. I'm just gonna put H2. So I'm gonna say hey there. All right, come back and refresh. So there you go. So now what you want to do is change the colors. I think it's down here. We can just select a different color. That's the second one. And you want to do nav bar dark primary. Copy that. And come back to application.html.erb. Remember, I told you this is going to show in every page. And we want to remove nav bar expand. That's fine. Nav bar light and big light, we want to remove that and replace it with nav bar dark and primary. And Command S to save. Come back here to pages home and refresh. And there you go. So we got our new nav bar with a drop down. It's working. And obviously this is just all HTML that you see here. But of course, pages home, we created a controller. But this is not about controllers. We're just testing Bootstrap. Okay, so obviously, you can look at the models. There's nothing because we didn't create any models for pages. And but in regards to controllers, you'll see let me just zoom out of here. Command minus. Oh, Command plus. That was the right zoom level. And you'll notice in controllers there is, concerns, that's always there. Application controller, that's always there. It was always there. And then we have the pages controller. And with the pages controller also came the view. Under views, we have layouts. It was always there. But pages was created, and with the action of home. And of course, later we can redirect it to go directly to home. So we can go to localhost 3000 or mydomain.com /home. Okay, or just /. So, and that's why we added here on the yield. Like I said, I'm gonna just collapse this nav. Okay, I'm gonna collapse it so it's easy to read. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to add partial files here in the future. Okay, because we just did this for testing. That's all we wanted to do. So this is how you install Bootstrap and Jquery and popper.js, guys. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. And thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I really appreciate all your support. And I'll see you guys in part 6, where we're going to develop authentication system. Okay, to log in, log out, and edit password, and so on. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.